Welcome, everyone. Welcome all our students and families to tonight's virtual session. This is a session by Hobart and William Smith Colleges regarding career services in your first year. We're really excited to have Brandy Ferrara here. And tonight, I'm also going to be kind of hosting the session. I'm Julie Washington. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Hobart and William Smith Colleges. I'm based regionally, and I work with student applicants from New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I'm also the parent of a class of 2024 graduate, and I'm really delighted to see so many wonderful families joining. And also, Brandy is the Executive Director of Career Services. And just something to note, the Princeton Review ranks HWS Career Services among the top 20 career programs in the nation. So our signature career Pathways program helps students with their academic, personal, and career-related interests. And also we have a really strong Pathways program, which allows students to be able to pursue those interests, participate in job shadowing, networking trips, internships, and post-graduation plans. So thank you so much, Brandy, for being here and for joining us. And so I'll turn it over to you now.
Great. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. And I'm excited to be here and to talk with all of you. This is my 25th year at Hobart and William Smith in Career Services. I like to share that because I came here thinking I was going to stay for 2 years. And I just love this place so much that 2 years has turned into 25 years. And I have 4 daughters, 2 already in college and 1 is a junior. So I get to start this process all over again. And so we're actually doing the tour. I get to be on the other side of this screen with all of you. And my daughter, she wants to come to Hobart and William Smith. So we'll be doing this tour. So I'm really excited to be here and share with you some ways that we really work with our students early on. A lot of people hear career services and they think that it's something that you worry about at the end of your 4 years when you are ready to graduate. And I always tell students, that's the last thing I want. I don't want to see you a week before graduation saying, I'm here, I'm graduating, I need a job. There's so many things that we want to be doing and working with students on during those 4 years, helping them get those experiences, build their resume so that come senior year, they're ready to hit the ground running. And that might be entering the workforce. It might be going on to graduate or professional school, or it might be doing something like a Fulbright, a fellowship opportunity post-graduation. And so our office works with students on all of those things and provides advising and support for that. So tonight I'm going to go through just a few slides, an overview of how we really work with our students starting in the first year, and talking a little bit more about the Pathways program that Julie referenced. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and then we'll also have time at the end. Hopefully you can all see my presentation. All right, so as Julie mentioned, our Pathways program is sort of our signature program that we work with our students in. And it's something that you don't have to sign up for or register. It's just our process of how we work with everybody. And there are 4 parts to Pathways. So the first one is assess, really looking at helping students identify what are their values, their interests, their skills, helping them figure out what are those careers that you might be interested in? What do those pathways look like? Some students are coming in saying, I'm not even sure what I want to major in. And so we can do some interest assessments with them to help them figure out what they might gravitate towards more. But we don't expect that students are just going to come in on their own to do this. So we actually go into the first year seminars. And during that presentation, I actually do all of those. I'm talking with the first years. I'm having them download the app for Handshake. You'll hear from a lot of schools that use Handshake in their career center. It is a great platform. But we have them download the app or use it on their computer. And during that, I have them schedule their first time appointment. So it's not required that they meet with us, but it really is the culture on this campus that we're engaging with those first years. So as of the first semester, we had already met with about half of this first year class coming in voluntarily for those first time appointments. And that appointment is really a getting to know you. Right, we want to know all the great things that they've done in high school. We want to know some of the things maybe they're engaged in already. What are the classes that they're taking? What are they excited about? What are some things maybe that they want to get involved in? And we help them learn more about that maybe through clubs and organizations, or connecting them with our um, Office for Civic Engagement and Service Learning. So it's really just helping to get to know them and getting some experience. After that first time appointment, though, some of the students are coming in and they're like, again, back to the I have no idea what I want. And some are coming in saying, I know exactly what I want, or they think they know exactly what they want to do. And so either way, we want to then help them explore. So it might be through a career assessment that they are looking at some potential careers, or the student who's coming in and saying, yep, this is what I want. I know I want to be a dentist. I just had a first year in today who was on that path. And so from there, we really want to help them with that exploration piece, which is the second part of pathways. And so that is a lot of times through informational interviews. And in addition to being in the top 20 for internships and career services, we're also number 13 for alum engagement with Princeton Review. And I cannot say enough amazing things about our alums and how much they want to help and give back. And so just today, I had a student in my office. He's a sophomore, and he's looking at a lot of very different career paths. And so I connected him with an alum at the Secret Service. I connected him with an alum who owns her own business, um, and then another one in a trade. Immediately, they all got back and said, yep, happy to talk with him. And they've already scheduled phone calls just so that the student can learn about their career paths. And so they're really helpful. And I think the way we work with students is so hands-on in that way. We're not just saying, go look at LinkedIn and see who you can find. We're really helping them introduce them to people and get that process started. In addition, though, under the exploration, we have some signature programs, and I'll talk about that on another slide, that are really engaging, again, through alums, helping them experience different careers and see different work environments. And all of this is really helping them get to that experience piece, right? So we know students have to have an internship or research, depending on their field of interest, in order to make them competitive for postgraduate opportunities, whether it's graduate school, fellowships, or entering the job market. So in our office, we're structured into teams. We have a business team, a STEM team, and then a team that covers the nonprofits, arts, government policy, and things like that. That team is a career coach and an employer developer. And so we're working with those students on their professional materials, their resumes, their cover letters. How do you even write a networking email? And then the employer developer is helping to network them with that great alum base, but also helping them identify opportunities that they may want to be applying for. In addition to that, those internships and research, some of them are paid and some aren't. And so we want to make sure at HWS that students have access to those opportunities. So we have our guaranteed internship funding program, which I'll talk about more in detail on our next slide. But students can get credit for internships here, both during the school year and during the summer, which is another great way to help them. And then we have our internship program here on campus. So students choose often to spend at least one summer during their 4 years here in Geneva. It's a beautiful time of year. It's an amazing place to be. And so we have our FLX summer internship program where students can do internships within the Finger Lakes region, and they get free housing on campus through that. In addition, we have summer research, and that's run through the provost office. So those are academic research projects with faculty members, which is an amazing hands-on experience for even a first-year student can do those. And they also include a stipend in housing. And then that last part of Pathways is Connect. So this is where we're really working out with your students on professional development. We're working on that networking. So we have an HWS career network, which is a database of alums that have volunteered. So even, we've got LinkedIn, which is an amazing networking platform. But this database, everyone in there had to raise their hand. So we know when students are reaching out to those folks that they're going to get a response pretty quickly. All right, so that guaranteed internship funding program that I mentioned, this is a great opportunity for students to get an award from the office for completing our Pathways requirements. And those are outlined on our website, but they're things we want students doing no matter what. Meeting with us, having a resume that we've looked at and reviewed, doing a mock interview. They go to a networking workshop, an interviewing workshop, a career event of their choice, and they have to have a completed LinkedIn profile and an updated handshake account. That's it. These are the fundamentals of sort of the career process. And so we want every student to have this, but once they complete those requirements, they're then eligible for this guaranteed funding. And so it's offered for fall internships, spring internships, and summer internship opportunities. So they could be here in Geneva, but as a student, you may decide you want to study abroad. Some of those study abroad programs have internships built into them. And so I've got several students this semester who are doing internships through their study abroad, and they're getting their guaranteed internship funding so that they have $3,000 in their pocket while they're doing their study abroad, because you can't work while you're abroad. So this is a great way for them to earn some money. In addition to those general funds, the guaranteed funding, which is a $3,000 award, we have international internship funding up to $15,000, which is an amazing opportunity for summer only. But students can go anywhere in the world that is not on the State Department's travel advisory list as a 3 or 4. 2s most of the time are fine, 1s are always fine. We work with alums on those opportunities. Some of them are through our study abroad partners. Some students are working with faculty to identify potential opportunities. And so it's an amazing way for students to further their global education. This is just an example of where some students have interned both domestically and internationally. Those programs that I mentioned at the beginning, our career treks are really popular with students. So over the winter break, when our students are at home, we coordinate these programs for New York City, Boston, LA, or New York every other year, and then DC. And they're led by someone from the career office, in addition to a faculty member. And then during these visits, so finance experience, for example, we're 3 days, New York City, going to banks and financial services, meeting with, I think it's almost 80 alums now that they're up to during those 3 days at big banks, small hedge funds, financial service. They're going to S&P, they're going to Bloomberg. They get to see what the difference is of walking into JP Morgan versus, I don't know, another bank. I'm trying to think, so many have merged over the years. And so they get to really experience that, talk to the alums as sophomores, figuring out, what do I need to do? If I want to go into investment banking, what are the things that I need to make sure that I know how to do and do well? What does my GPA need to be? And so that's a great opportunity. Boston in Business, that was a new one this year that we did, and was really popular. They went to Fidelity, they went to Suffolk Construction, they went to an incubator, in addition to some other organizations, some media and some other places. And so it was a great way for students to explore various environments and career fields. Behind the scenes is for students who are interested in entertainment and media. And then Day on the Hill, this year we spent 3 days in Washington, D.C., and they're hearing from all these alums that work on the Hill, that work for places like Deloitte, that are doing consulting work. They're hearing from alums in all aspects of political and policy-oriented careers, which is amazing. And many of those connections, they lead to internships and opportunities. So I've got a senior networked with a few alums that were on that were in DC, and they've already put together a whole itinerary of people for him to meet with during the winter break, or excuse me, during the spring break, which is a great opportunity for him. We do job shadowing. So sometimes, my first years, my sophomores come in and they're like, okay, it's great to read about this on a piece of paper or to talk to an alum, but I really want to see what it's like. I want to see the work environment. Is it someplace I can see myself? What is it like? So job shadowing during the winter break can be really helpful. Spring break, some even during the summer. They're like, well, I already have a summer job as a first year. I'm going back to the camp counselor job I had, but I've got a couple of weeks. We may use some of that time to do some job shadowing. And again, we're helping your students set that up. Or those of you who are interested in physical therapy. Last year, I had a student, he needs clinical hours. He needed some hours. And so he's from New Jersey. I reached out to 5 different clinics near him and set up hours that he was able to accomplish the 170 hours, and he got his guaranteed funding for that shadow internship experience. Finance Society. So that's another program that many of our alums have participated in over the years, and it's really meant to support the classroom. So it's more of the co-curricular components of helping them prepare for finance careers, understanding the different aspects of the industry, what are the different sectors within that. They're learning financial modeling through Finance Society. They're also really honing their skills on technical interviews. And that's where we bring in our alums to support that piece. We do a part-time job and internship fair on campus, so students can learn about local internships and part-time jobs in the region. And the last piece, which is newer for us, and I'm really excited, is this micro-credentialing, these skill-building opportunities for students. So they're getting exposed to different things in classes, but some students want to learn more and do a deeper dive, or some may not have the opportunity. So for example, GIS right now is taught through environmental studies. But if you are interested in real estate, you probably need to know GIS now because so many organizations are using that. And it will be taught in the fall, but it hasn't been in the past. So we actually developed a whole online class for students on GIS. Excel is another one that we feel like students can't ever get enough or learn enough to help make them competitive. So we've got some online Excel opportunities in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. We're looking at building out other skill areas. Revit for our architecture students, and Rhino is another one. They're learning again in the classroom, but we want more of an opportunity, a sandbox for them to work in. And so we're working on that as well. So there's a lot happening in the Career Center. It's a really busy place. I encourage you to follow us on Instagram. It's where we're posting our programs and promoting student outcomes. LinkedIn has become a really popular page for us. So our HWS Career Services page. So Hobart and William Smith has a page, but then Career Services has its own page. And that's where we're sharing opportunities that our alums are posting or other neat internships. And in the summer, we spend all of our LinkedIn time celebrating all of the students out there who have internships or that are recent grads. The 2025s will be the ones that we feature this summer, celebrating all of their outcomes. And so we're really excited about the work that's happening here. Like I said, it's really hands-on in the way that we work with students. It's a case management model. And so when students come in, they're usually given an action item. Here's some links I want you to look at. I just met with a student interested in environment today, and I gave her some information on different careers within environment, and then some links to look at what do the internships in those different fields look like and to see what might resonate with her. So her job is to look through those and then follow up with me so that we can really focus in on the next step. And so it's that kind of hands-on high touch that I think really separates us um, from other schools, other experiences. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I am happy to answer any questions that you have.
Yes, there was a question in the chat about engineering. So, since we have partnerships with a couple of different universities for engineering, how does career services work for students in those majors?
Yeah, absolutely. So our STEM coordinator, Emily, would be the one that's working with them on the career services side. And then there's a faculty advisor that's helping them with the applications for the programs with Dartmouth and Columbia. And so it's again looking at opportunities, what are the skills that they really want to focus on, what kind of engineering, and helping them the same way as we would help the others, any other student, any other major. But they are getting a lot of direct advising from a faculty member.
And then are these internships available for both sophomore and junior year?
Absolutely. You can do an internship your first year. So you're guaranteed funding for a one award, but internships and research, we're going to help you as much as you want us to. So I've got first years that are looking at opportunities, but certainly sophomores, juniors, we're here to work with you on that as well.
And there's another question about, are there opportunities for students who want to remain in Geneva over the summer, which is beautiful in the summer in Geneva? Yeah, so like, could you talk about some of those opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. So through Career Services, that FLX internship program, but then our Center for Community Engagement and Service Learning also has Summer of Service internships. And then there are research opportunities through faculty. And so those three programs, there's over 100 students typically on campus in the summertime.
And those
Internship.
are also
Oh,
open to freshmen as well, right? Yeah.
correct. Yep, absolutely. Open to freshmen. Um, and then those internships span a lot of different industry areas. And then the research again is based on what the faculty members who's posting it, but there's some in all, I think all divisions.
And then there's another question regarding environmental science internships and
Yeah.
ability.
That's like a hot topic lately. Everybody, I feel like I've done so much research on opportunities for environmental careers. And so there's plenty here in the Geneva community. We have the Finger Lakes Institute, which I can't say enough about on our campus and the amazing work that they do. They have research and internship opportunities both during the school year and the summer. But because of the nature of the work that they do, they're partnered with so many organizations that our students are able to do internships. And if they want water, there's Seneca Lake Pure Water Association. There's Montezuma Autobahn, where we place a lot of students. There's the Cornell Agritech station. So they're up here. And so students are able to do research during the summer through Cornell for paid opportunities. And there are a lot with sustainability initiatives, both on campus and within the community. Economic development through the city has some internships. So there's a lot happening in this area as it relates to environment.
So a question regarding students who are interested in pursuing law. So internships or shadowing in law firms and where those might be located.
Yeah, so law is another big area of interest. And I know some of you are probably looking at the Cornell 3+3 program. So here in Geneva, we have Law New York, and they take at least 2 interns every semester and summer from Hobart and William Smith. So that's a great way for students to do intake interviews, do research, help with cases. And that's, again, you can do that as early as your first year. You can apply for those internships. In addition, the Geneva court system has the city court where people can go in and shadow on the different sessions. And so that's something that our court is very open to taking interns. For students who have transportation, right up the road on 5 and 20 in Canandaigua is the Ontario Court, and they take Ontario County Court, and they take interns every summer as well. And this summer, they have paid interns, which is amazing for students. So here locally, there's a lot. But then we have HWS produces many, many attorneys. And so there are so many attorneys all over the country that we reach out to for shadowing or for internship opportunities. Some of those bigger law firms are a little bit more competitive in terms of them wanting, they're advertising more like an L1 internship that they're looking for. But there are plenty of opportunities. There's an alum in the city that keeps a spot for a Hobart and William Smith student. There's another alum who has a virtual internship with his law firm where the students are helping, and he hires two every summer. So there's plenty of opportunities for students to explore areas of law as well.
Another question is in regard to helping students, advising students regarding higher demand jobs or industries, and how does that look?
Yeah, so one of the things we use is ONET. And so there's like the careers with the bright outlooks. And so that can be a helpful tool for students in looking at what's growing and what might not be growing. So as we talk about like investment banking, we're always looking at that world, how they're hiring is a little bit different, smaller numbers. So looking at exploring all the different careers in that field, or publishing, for example, students who want to work with books, that industry is shrinking. And so that's something that the career coaches are definitely staying abreast of what's happening and talking to students about casting a wider net, right? So if you want to do publishing, maybe it's not necessarily with books. There's a lot of online content and looking at things in that way.
This is great. We're getting wonderful questions. Are there internships for architecture? And then I'll ask the next question after that. So there's that one first.
Yeah, so architecture is an amazing program here, and our students get great internships. In fact, I was just looking at a note that an alum who has a firm in Connecticut, he hires student every year. And so I'm like, oh shoot, we got to follow up with Jason to get him an intern for this summer. But yes, there are plenty of internship opportunities. First years, it might be a little bit trickier depending on their skill with some of the computer drafting like Revit or Rhino. And they may not have the skills as a first year, but they could certainly do some shadowing. But by sophomore year, there's more internship opportunities for them for sure.
And then a follow-up question to that. Is there a relationship with a grad school for architecture?
Not directly like the Cornell 3+3 or the engineering, but I will tell you our faculty are so hands-on with our architecture students in going to applying to grad programs that they are really good at the advising piece for the graduate school for architecture. And so many of our students go right into programs.
Thank you. And
Mhm.
then, internships regarding art history.
Yeah, so if that's more museums, we've got it, again, it just depends on, I always ask students like what kind of art, because it's learning more about what your students are interested in and what their geographic locations. So maybe the first summer we're looking at archives and their historic society at home versus, they're not going to New York City to intern at the Met as a first year. But that's something that maybe if that's the plan that we're going to build up to, right? We're going to get those internship experiences that are more regional, more local, helping them build up so that they are competitive. And we have students that do those types of internships. We had students intern at the Smithsonian. So there's plenty out there. And the other is through study abroad. While they might do the Rome. That's a popular one for art students, especially going to Rome, Italy, and studying the art there. They make connections. They may want to do an internship internationally. And so I've had art students that get the international funding. One that I failed to mention is the Padnos Award, which is a $5,000 international award. And that one's for winter break. And the student that won that award this year out of our office, she is art. And so she was in Mexico, actually, looking at museums and studying art in Mexico City.
That's awesome. And are there internships related to sports? So sports journalism, sports media?
Yep. In fact, if you go to our LinkedIn page, I just posted a few for the sports industry in particular. And that's something we see a lot of students interested in. And again, maybe it's not the Yankees or the Red Sox your first summer, but those local teams. So we have an internship set up here if you want to stay here for the summer and work with our with the, oh gosh, what are they? The Geneva. I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the name right now, but there is a team here that, and so the students can intern Rochester, the Red Wings, that's who they are. So there's Geneva Red Wings, Rochester Red Wings, and then the Syracuse Mets, the Auburn Astros. So we have a lot right in this area alone, but then I always look where this is a student from, what are more of your, the farm teams that they might be looking at. We've had students do like the Cape Cod, internship for baseball, which is another cool thing. We've had an student intern with the Red Sox. So I just had an alum post one. She is with sports marketing with an agency. We've had every major, like the NHL, NFL, NSL. We've got alums in all of those that are really helping to get students in where they can. And so yes, they're competitive, but you've got a great network of people helping you along the way for those.
Hey, and then we have another question. Are there any societies or groups in the alumni network that are in the various industries that students can network with while they're still in school?
So the Alumni Association, is that, I want to make sure I understand that question.
The various industries that so I think yeah, like specific like alumni groups that might be like like in law, right? You know what I mean? Like are there certain like
Yeah.
networks like that? Like
We don't have alum professional networks. We've got like the whole alumni association. And so, but with our career network, for example, you can sort by affinity. So if you're interested in a particular area, you can find alums in that industry. Or if you just want to network with, you're on the lacrosse team and you want to network with other lacrosse players, you can find those. Julie's son was a basketball player, so he could find other basketball players who are alums in his field to network with.
yeah, absolutely. And I think the alumni are awesome about like coming back to events. There's always an alumni event where like the basketball, alum will come back and connect. And those are just really awesome ways to be able to, for students to be able to network, like you mentioned, with and see, what they're doing and build those connections. But yeah, I think that answered the question. So like New York City finance community, like that was I guess the heart of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a strong network of alums in finance. They are a powerhouse in New York City, really helping students in particular. That is a strong group. They all know each other and they are all really supportive of this office, truly. In fact, a student, he's an alum now. He graduated a couple of years ago. I was just messaging him tonight before this session. Kyle, he wrote and he said, I'm going to be in Buffalo for an event for my job. Can I stop at campus? I'd love to talk with students. And he was in the Finance Society when he was here as a student, and now he wants to help other people. So we're arranging a visit for him to come back at the end of March.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put the YouTube link in here that we will have recordings of our virtual sessions in the YouTube link. And you can like go back in if you want to watch this one, if you would like to share it with others, it'll eventually be populated in there in the HWS YouTube channel. And yeah, Brandy just shared her email address. I can also share mine if you have any questions at all. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for attending. And thank you, Brandy, for all of your
Thank
expertise
you.
and knowledge and years of experience and sharing that with us. I hope you'll have a wonderful night and take care.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.